I'm Abby from Bakes and the Bad Housewife. I hope you've been enjoying the YouTube channel thus far. It's been really, really fun to get your feedback, especially when it's nice. And I still love all of your comments and suggestions, so if you have one, let me know. Today, we are going to make chicken corn chowder. This is going to be the easiest recipe you probably ever made. Well, one of them at least. Every time I ask my husband what he wants for dinner, it's either Pizza Hut or soup. The man loves soup. And I made a recipe a couple years ago and kind of forgot it, because when you're making soup, you can kind of just throw stuff in a bowl, and if it doesn't work, you add more milk, or you add more flour, or you add more chicken stock. So it's a very forgiving recipe, and you can kind of adjust soups the way you want them. So I tried and tried and tried to get it back, because he always says, oh, remember that one soup you made? And I've literally made hundreds of soups, and the man picks the one that I didn't write down. So after much trial and error, I think I finally have it back. And the best part was it came mostly from cans. So minimal prep, minimal time spent in the kitchen, and you can eat it right away. It's not one of those that needs to stew all day. You're going to be good to go. So what you're going to need today is you're going to need a 15-ounce can of creamed corn. You're going to need two 15-ounce can or a 30-ounce can of just regular sweet corn, which you're going to end up draining. You're going to need green chilies. I got 8 ounces of them. I like that they kind of bulk the soup up a little bit, and they add just a little bit of a mild kick. Your seasonings are going to be cayenne pepper, some dried parsley, dried thyme, and I love white pepper. I picked this up at the downtown market, but you can buy it at any grocery store pretty much. But it just gives it a little bit of a different taste, and it's not as heavy as black pepper. So I like to mix it a little bit up. It just, I don't know, it's just really, really good. So white pepper. Rachel Ray's with us today in the form of chicken stock. You're going to use about 2 cups of it. I use low-fat milk. If you want, you can use whole milk, but I figure, you know, you're using a rotisserie chicken already, and you're going to put some cheese and everything. So, you know, go with the low-fat milk. It doesn't, you know, mess up the consistency or anything. So 3 cups of the low-fat milk, flour, scallions, salt, pepper, Old Bay seasoning, also gives it a little edge, rotisserie chicken, and then you're going to need 6 slices of bacon. I always buy 2 extra because I can't cook bacon and let my dogs not have at least 1 strip of it, so I got 8. I picked up this bacon from Meijer. It's the black pepper bacon. I know, again, with the pepper, but it's so good, and it adds just a little bit extra flavor than normal bacon does, and it's cheap. It's $3.50 for 8 slices. So, and that's what you're gonna need. So, oh, I forgot one more thing because they're behind me. Silly me. You're gonna need potatoes and a little garlic. I use, depending on how thick I want the soup to be, you're going to use about 4 potatoes, and you're going to dice them up bite size because no one wants to eat a whole potato in their soup. So 4 potatoes, about medium size, and I use about 2 garlic cloves. So those are going to be your ingredients. And you're going to start by chopping up your green onions, your taters, and your garlic. So let's start with potatoes. And like I said, if you want your soup a little bit thicker, use more potatoes. If you don't want it full of potatoes, you can use 3, you can use 2, you can use no potatoes if you want. But, you know, it's soup. You can't screw it up really. So we're gonna start by chopping up the potatoes into little bite-sized pieces. You know, I watch a lot of Food Network, and while I listen to almost everything they say, I really have not quite mastered knife skills yet. And I know you're supposed to chop them all up the same so they cook evenly, but how the heck are you supposed to do that when your potato is a lump? Like, how am I supposed to get this one as big as this one? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Go. So, you know, I figure as long as you get them relatively the same size, no big deal. Sorry, Errol Sanchez. Call me. Chopping these up. Also, I'm quite sure this is not the most appropriate way to chop up a potato, but it's my kitchen. I can do what I want. As long as I don't slice my hand off. I need that. I don't want to swipe my credit card hand off. And, you know, a lot of people peel potatoes, but I mean, as long as they're not like russet potatoes, I really like the skins. These are Yukon Golds. I think they're a little bit more buttery than russet potatoes, and I actually never really use those. I use Yukon Golds for everything, just because I like the way their skin tastes. And I don't know, I just like the way they cook up a little better. Now for this recipe, you're gonna use all parts of the green onion here. I could probably just go get a scissors, but I'm lazy. So you're gonna separate the green part from the white part, and we're just gonna use a little bit of that white part just to kind of give it a little intensity. I mean, don't cut all the way down to the root by any means, because that's gross. In your family, would probably disown you, but just cut up a little bit of the white pieces. And mix those in. And then while I'm just chopping these up, I'm just gonna go with it, because these aren't gonna actually go in the soup while it's cooking, but they make a delicious kind of loaded baked potato type garnish. And I love it. And my counter's clean, so don't worry if I scoop these up. I wiped it down before I made the food. And I like to chop all my vegetables up before I chop the bacon up, because you know, that whole like food poisoning thing. Try to avoid it. Oh, those onions are gonna make me cry. So, next, garlic. Now, I just learned that trick again from the Food Network, and I have really big muscles, and these onions are making me cry. It's just really sad. So, I'm going to chop some garlic up, about 3 cloves if I can make it through. Holy bajolies. These are probably the strongest green onions I've ever bought. Are you seeing this right now? It's like I'm watching Titanic or something, but it's just freaking green onions. Makeup's gonna run literally down my face. Can we cut for a second? Okay, everything's diced and sliced and prepped, and we're ready to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kick our oven on. Whoa! Holy shit, I almost just burned my arm. Right? Burnt arm hair. Kind of like a higher heat because you want that bacon to crisp up. I'm gonna toss my Dutch oven on top here. Now, if you don't have a cast iron Dutch oven, it's understandable because they are a serious investment. I actually scored this one at Home Goods on an after Christmas markdown. They can range up to about, this is the, maybe like a $400 Dutch oven, but because it was after Christmas, it was $99, which even then I was like, ugh. But it's seriously one of the best things I have ever bought for the kitchen, aside from a 7-cup food processor. This thing, I use it for everything. I mean, this thing is 2 years old now and it still looks brand new, and it cooks food so, so good. So if you don't have one of these, save your pennies because you'll be really, really happy that you did. So we're just gonna let that heat up a little bit. I'm not touching it, I'm just making sure I can feel the heat. Awesome. We're gonna grab our bacon. And I'm just gonna kind of drop it in. Oh yeah, hear that nice little sizzle in there. Now you don't want to burn it because no one likes burnt bacon. just want it to get nice. Now while I'm cooking up this bacon, write this down. You need to Google King Curtis and watch that little snippet of him from an episode of Wife Swap. He's this really funny, kind of naughty kid, and he tries to tell the mom on Wife Swap that bacon is good for me, and as she's throwing it away, he like literally has a meltdown. It's the funniest clip, and I never even watched that show, but you just have to Google that one little part. Okay, while that's going on, I'm gonna start opening some of these cans. So potatoes been cooking, and they're fork tender, which means I can stick a fork all the way through them, and they don't really fall apart yet. You don't want them all the way cooked because they'll be sitting and still getting cooked through, so you'll end up with mashed potatoes, which I guess wouldn't be a terrible thing, but you still want them to hold their shape a little bit. So, potatoes are cooked. We're gonna grab our flour. I usually do this right over the stove because you just wanna get it in. You wanna put about 2 heaping, maybe 3, because I put a little bit more potatoes in there. And you're gonna stir that flour in to get the potatoes nice and coated. And we're gonna do 3 cups of milk. They don't have to be exact. Into the pot. See? Fireworks. There we go. I'm just gonna keep the milk close just in case I'm gonna add a little bit more in a bit. Stir all that together. Let it kind of thicken up just a little bit here. See all those like bits of garlic and the green onions and the potatoes? The little brown bits are the best. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to bring that up to a little bit of a simmer. Crank up the heat in here. Just kind of keep stirring so it doesn't burn on the bottom. So while that's kind of heating up, I'm going to grab the chicken stock here. Give it a little shake. Oh, Rachel, so glad you could come to make soup with me. It's so nice. Let's do your show next. Okay. That's starting to steam here. I'm just going to keep stirring. The flour mixed with the milk and then heating it up is what makes it a little bit thicker. So you definitely want to make sure you add enough of those. And they're very forgiving. If you add too much flour, you just have to add a little bit more milk. And if you add too much milk, try to mix in flour, but don't put it in one big clump or you'll get clumps of flour in it. You want to sprinkle it and then really, really stir it in. Okay, so we're starting to see that on the spoon? How it doesn't drip right off, it kind of sticks around. Do it again for you. Oh yeah. All right, so as that's starting to thicken up, we're gonna add our 2 cups of chicken stock. And again, it doesn't have to be exact, this is very forgiving. While you're waiting, you just have a little piece of bacon. Or 2 pieces of bacon. Maybe 3. That's why you always cook up extra. If it's just sitting there, you can't resist it. Let it simmer for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on how quickly it kind of comes together. And you'll know when it's ready. Your potatoes will be a little bit more cooked through and they'll kind of start to mush to the back of your spoon, which is the perfect time to add the rest of your veggies. So I'm just going to let this sit for a few. We'll be back in a few minutes.
You don't get any cat.
Okay, ready?
Just so cute little big little heads together. Oh.
Okay, gotta go check on my potatoes. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to get like a nice film on top. I know that sounds gross, but that's the best part. now that the soup has kind of thickened up, we get to add the good stuff, and the seasoning. So you're gonna do 2 teaspoons of the Old Bay. I have a ½ teaspoon measurement right here. So I'm gonna do 4 of these bad boys. Okay, we're gonna do 1 cayenne pepper. Oh, not that heaping. Parsley. You can be a little bit more heaping with. Now, we're gonna do ½ teaspoon of thyme. ½ teaspoon of the white pepper. Try not to breathe it in. Or you'll end up sneezing your head off. Okay. We're gonna do, you know what, it's salt. Let's do a couple sprinkles. 1, 2, 3. A little squeeze of black pepper. We're gonna add the canned ingredients. Sweet corn, the cream style. It's gonna go all the way in. Give it a little pat. Beat the garbage. Garbage is getting a little full. We do your 2 cans of green chilies, so a total of 8 ounces. Those all empty out. Now, you don't want to just pour the corn in because there's a lot of... So whenever Joe empties the dishwasher, he just puts things back wherever he wants. And I'm going to check one more place because he never puts things back in the drawers. What do you know? Here's my secret. Not in the drawer. So, we're gonna take our corn here over to the sink. You want the juices, but you don't want that much juice. Oh, or the can lid. Shift a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go dump it in our soup. Keep that there. Stir that all together. We're gonna let it settle. I have my burner turned down to medium-low because you don't want to burn anything. A little taste to see if it needs anything else before I add the chicken. And you know what? It's pretty good. It's got a little bit of a kick to it. It's all that cayenne pepper. So, rotisserie chicken. Meat knife. You're just gonna kind of pull the meat up. You know what? You can use forks and stuff, but I find it's just easier to use your hands. I also think it's really funny to say breast meat. But you're just gonna tear right into that breast meat, dice it all up. I'm really like a 5-year-old at heart. There's certain words that I still can't say because they make me laugh. And it's ironic that a lot of those words get used in everyday vocabulary, especially in the business world. That make me laugh. And sometimes in business meetings, I literally have to act like I sneezed because someone said penetrate the market a little bit too much. I'm just gonna continue ripping this chicken apart. Oh yeah. There's a lot you can do with rotisserie meat chicken. When we were dating, my husband and I, there's like Sunday afternoons where we'd skip church and we'd go to the beach and we'd buy just a big rotisserie chicken, grab 2 forks and like a side of like deli salad, and we would just sit on the beach under an umbrella, of course, because we're both super pale, and we would just like hang out. We'd eat chicken. It was awesome. Once we get the meat off of it, that's pretty much ravaged, I would say. This is gonna be kitty bait now. We're just gonna kind of pull the meat apart, kind of shred it a little bit. You can use a knife, but you're already dirty, so who cares? All right, we're gonna take this over to the soup here. Dump that right in. Okay, We added the chicken, we added all of the canned vegetables, we added the spices, the base is cooked up nicely and all that bacon fat. We're almost ready to serve, except for, I think I made it a little spicy. So if you added a little bit too much spice, pour in just a tad bit of milk. And I mean, it'll make it a little bit thinner, but it also might kind of like level out some of that heat. So just a little here and there. Stir that all in. And like I said, this isn't a soup that has to sit all day to be delicious, although I do think it is better the second day. We are going to doctor it up a bit. So, grab the bowl. Got it. Pour some in there. Oh yeah. Let's bring it in. I love topping off my soup with a little bit of sour cream. A little bit of chive. Oh, that's so good. Cheddar. And you know what? We can't forget the best part. The bacon. And there you go. Delicious supper. Takes you about 30 minutes and you can eat it for literally days because it makes a huge pot of it. It's so good. It's nice and hearty, but it's not too heavy. Makes great lunches. You can scoop it into a bread bowl for dinner too. That would be really, really good. One more bite. All right. Oh. I'm Abby from Thanks and the Bad Housewife. Thank you so much for stopping by and making some soup with me. I hope you enjoy it and whoever you make it for as well. Thanks again, and we'll see you later. Or throw it up. They ain't that good because it ain't Abby hot.
Oh, my hand.
Yeah, right? Burn arm hair. I once set my hair on fire because my mom always used to put candles on the back of the toilet.
Oh no.
What the hell? Yeah, so I would like sit down on the toilet and it was like, what the heck? My hair, like literally once set the whole like back of my hair on fire. Oh. And we added the corn, we added the cream corn, we added the chilies, we added the splice blend.
Spice blend.
We added the chicken, we added the we added the chicken.
I don't know if you want to just do that part over again. Anyways.
Canned green chilies for just a little bit of a mild kick and an asshole. Also, that's a yummy soup. let me start that part over. You want me to start over from the